Good afternoon, you're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Yuki Pasha. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Railway trade unions launch island-wide token strike. Crisis discussions between minister and trade unions. Natural waterways in Singharaja on the brink of being destroyed. Will Arjuna Mahendran be extradited from Singapore? Attorney General perusing relevant reports. Hints of political parties based on race and religions not being registered in the future.
Starting off with your top story for this afternoon, the token strike launched by the locomotive engine operators and affiliated trade unions was called off a short while ago. However, this was the situation that was reported from several railway stations in the country while the token strike was going on. Now, the people who arrived at the railway stations claimed that they were inconvenienced as a result of it.
Acting General Manager of Railways, WADS Gunasinghe, said around 48 trains run in the early hours of the morning daily. However, due to the strike, only 15 trains had been in operation this morning. Accordingly, trains will operate to destinations such as Kandy, Alutgama, Kol, Hikaduwa, Moratuwa, Rambukkana and Avisawella today. In order to reduce the impact of the strike on the general public, the Sri Lanka Transport Board have deployed extra buses. The token strike was launched citing several demands, including unjust disciplinary action against railway workers. Only 5 trains operated out of the Gampaha railway station this morning, out of 20 trains which are scheduled to operate. Moreover, 2 trains are delayed at the Galle railway station owing to the token strike. No trains had operated from the Colombo Fort railway station this morning as a result of this token strike. Commuters who arrived at the Kurunegala railway station also had to face severe inconveniences due to the token strike. Our correspondent in the area said 6 trains that were scheduled to depart from the Kurunegala railway station this morning were cancelled.
Wouldn't you save something that is great for our existence? Then why are we killing Singharaja forest? Think about it. Singharaja was made a UNESCO site or a biodiversity reserve for a reason. So why kill something that's doing a great heaps of good to us? Save Singharaja.
General Secretary of the Sinhala Railway Movement, Venerable Akmi Menadaya Ratanathero, visited the plot of land near the Singharaja rainforest, which is at the center of controversy over a construction that is being done there.
The security guard at the checkpoint did not allow Venerable Akmi Menadaya Ratanathero to enter the premises. A small reservoir in the land constructed crossing the water stream can also be seen. Every decision is made based on money. A large sum of money has to be invested in this. Once it is spent, there are certain others who cannot bear it. I accept. I was one of the 6.9 million voters. I appeared on stages and launched a struggle to bring this government into power. We are in anguish. We still trust the president. However, we have our reservations about ministers. It is like a peacock's dance. It is majestic from the front, but not so much.
The Minister of Forest Conservation, C.B. Ratnayaka, has directed the Director General of the Forest Department to submit a report in this regard. Secretary to the Ministry of Forest Conservation, Somaratna Vidanapathirana, stated appropriate action will be taken as soon as the report is obtained.
Residents allege that an illegal extraction of Vallapatra is being carried out in the Dunumandala Oya Naula in the Knuckles Forest Reserve.
Area residents charge the highly sensitive Knuckles environmental zone has been heavily impacted due to the racket. They claim a large number of Vallapatra trees have been uprooted as of now. According to area residents, Vallapatra trees have been uprooted in Puakpitiya near the paddy lands in addition to the Knuckles Forest Reserve as well. We do not know the situation inside the forest if the situation here is like this. We can see what is happening here. Who knows what is happening deep inside the forest? We have sent a letter to the president about this issue. There are smugglers. They are not villagers. They have entered the village from outside.
Meanwhile, politicians from both factions expressed views regarding the environmental destruction taking place in Singaraja. Our responsibility is to find out whether what Bhagya said was true or false and to act on what Bhagya said. I saw top officials saying that it is okay to cut trees down on private land. According to the legal knowledge I possess, there is a number of trees that can be cut on private lands. Every tree cannot be cut. Permission must be taken to implement an environmental project. It is irrelevant whether it's on government or private lands. The land Bhagya spoke of may be a privately owned land, but if any development activity is taking place, it should be carried out under the environmental regulations in place, regulations of the CEA, and according to the feasibility reports. I believe that as officials, our responsibility is to pay attention to what she pointed out rather than focusing on Bhagya. What she is telling is a humane and empathetic story. Is it correct to take revenge? What is the government's responsibility? They must find out whether it is true or false, whether environmental destruction is actually taking place. Looking at the land permits, we also feel the same way. An owner is a person in Cinnamon Gardens, Colombo. How can there be land permits close to forests? How are land ownership deeds formed? Can there be land ownership deeds like that? What is the reason behind it? The government must find that out. The government must focus on the land and not the girl. What is the threat? It is to silence her. They are asking her to be quiet and to not talk about environmental destruction. We would like to say this to the government and its officials, including Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Society will not be quiet. It will speak out regarding this matter.
Regardless of age, race or religion, each of us as human beings have an important role to play in safeguarding our planet. And so, along with the Singaraja forest, let's all do our part in whatever capacity we can to protect our precious Mother Earth.
Moving on, today marks 61 days since the Vallava United Left Bank Farmers Organization launched a satyagraha for a wild elephant management reserve. Several representatives of the Samyak Jana Balawege joined the protesters in support of their endeavor. The farmers started this protest requesting the wild elephant management reserve to be gazetted on the 18th of January this year. Samyak Jana Balawege parliamentarian Dilip Vedaratri and the chairman of the party's Agriculture Council, Hemukumar Nanyakara, joined the protest. Moving on to some more local news, Additional Solicitor General Parindarana Singha today told the Colombo Permanent High Court Trial at Bar that it is reported The Singapore Attorney General is considering the documents and clarifications sent by the Sri Lankan Attorney General for the third time with respect to the extradition of former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran.
The case was called up in the presence of Justices Champa Janaki Rajaratna, Damit Thotavatta and Namal Balalla. In addition, the court ordered for summons to be sent to the Malaysian authorities by the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry and the Sri Lankan Embassy in Malaysia in order to bring down and produce in the court Ajan Gadie Punchiheva, a director of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, who is the 10th suspect in the case. The case will be called up again on the 5th of May 2021 to inform the court of the progress made with regards to bringing down and producing in court Arjuna Mahendran and Ajan Gadie Punchiheva.
The Centre for Labour Struggles distributed pamphlets opposite the Sri Lanka Ports Authority to apprise the general public of the national assets which are at risk of being handed over to foreign entities.
The pamphlet mentions the release of the West Container Terminal to India's Adani Group.
In the struggle to protect the East Container Terminal, we clearly stated selling the West Container Terminal is a political disaster to the country. There are several facts that back them to sell the East Container Terminal. The first one is that once the East Container Terminal is given to India, Sri Lanka will be sucked deeper into the political trap which it's already in. And the second is through the release of the East Container Terminal, what has happened was dismantling the port, which is an economically beneficial terminal. Those arguments are similarly relevant to the West Container Terminal. We would especially like to mention that a huge political disaster is on its way through the sale of the West Container Terminal. The future generations will have to pay for this. So we request the people of this country to recognize this political disaster.
The National Election Commission has drawn its attention to stop the registration of political parties that are based on different racial and religious ideologies in the future.
Attorney at Law Nimal Punchiheva, the chairman of the National Elections Commission, said that the National Elections Commission is currently holding discussions in this regard. According to Punchiheva, the focus is also on changing the names of already registered political parties on the basis of race and religion. The National Elections Commission chairman pointed out that such political parties will be allocated a reasonable time period to change the existing party name nominated on the basis of various ethnicities and religions. The president of the National Election Commission said the attention was drawn to this matter, taking into account the recommendations of several commission reports, including the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that probed the 2019 April 21st attacks pertaining to the registration of political parties on national and religious grounds.
Meanwhile, SLPP MP Janaka Thissakutti Arachi expressed views regarding the conflict among the members of the government.
Upon looking at the nature of the operation, some people wonder whether there is an internal dispute. This is not an internal dispute, but some politicians in minority parties are dreaming of higher ranks. Since the UNP introduced the position of common candidate back then, some think that they can be the common candidate of the country. That is why some politicians with the dream of becoming the common candidate are directly attacking Basil Rajapaksa. Be it Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Basil Rajapaksa or another Rajapaksa, our party has not still decided who will be the next presidential candidate. So why are you planning so far ahead? Why are you rushing? As a junior MP, the advice I would like to give to the MPs of the minority parties is to act patiently.
සුළුපක්ෂ නායකයින්ට පසුපෙළ මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් විදිහට ලාබාල මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් විදිහට මම දෙන උපදේශය තමයි ඉවසීමෙන් කටයුතු කරන්න.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa attended an event that was held to launch 2 Buddhist literary texts yesterday.
The literary texts were authored by W.A. Padmin Samira under the guidance of Most Venerable Vaskadwe Mahinda Vanshathero. The official website of the Vaskado Sri Subhuti Vihare was launched at the event yesterday. The acting chief prelate of the Sri Lanka Amarapura sect, Most Venerable Gamtune Assadithera, and the members of the Mahasangha were present at the book launch yesterday. Ministers of the Sri Lanka government and the High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka was among the gathering, along with the chairman of the Dayaka Sabha of the Amarapura sect, Mr. Ajitha Disoisa.
And with that, it's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Miyuki Poshia. Take care and good day.